During the club break for national team matches, there have been many articles commenting on the future of manager Erik ten Hag, who is under immense pressure after poor results in the last 3 rounds. However, there's no plan for the leadership to sack him at this time, and they will give Erik ten Hag more time to improve. This is partly because the latest signing, Manuel Ugarte, has yet to debut. He is predicted to bring significant changes to Manchester United. But this doesn't mean the Dutch strategist is absolutely safe. And with the strong, decisive temperament of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he and his associates have given Erik ten Hag 4 matches to address the team's issues. In other words, this September will greatly influence the future of the Dutch manager. Zinedine Zidane, Thomas Tuchel, or Gareth Southgate. These are the names that have been mentioned quite often recently regarding who might replace Erik ten Hag, Old Trafford, particularly the French strategist who was spotted at Real Betis' training ground, watching his son Elias train with the first team at Ciudad Deportiva Luis del Sol. Previously, in February, French legend expressed his desire to return to managing a club soon, but he needs to consider carefully before making the most suitable decision for himself. Meanwhile, Thomas Tuchel also shared that he received an offer from Manchester United last summer, but decided to rest after a long period of continuous work. These are 2 accomplished managers who have been mentioned frequently in the process of selecting a replacement for Erik ten Hag, and once again this story has resurfaced, as the Red Devils' performance in the last 3 matches has been poor. They lost 2 out of 3 matches and dropped to 14th place in the league table. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's disappointed face covering during the English derby was a warning sent to the former Ajax Amsterdam captain. According to some reliable sources in the foggy country, the leadership had a meeting with the Dutch strategist about the team's performance recently. The club's leaders want Manchester United to improve both in playing style and spirit. They don't put heavy pressure on winning titles, but just need to progress compared to last season. Because the rebuilding process will take quite a long time and can't be solved overnight. In addition, the 54-year-old coach will have 4 upcoming matches to prove himself to Ineos. These are the confrontations with Southampton, Crystal Palace in the Premier League, Barnsley in the Carabao Cup, and hosting the coach's compatriot team FC Twente in the Europa League. Along with that is the final match of September against Tottenham Hotspur at the Theatre of Dreams. First glance, Manchester United's opponents are not too difficult, except for Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the month. Therefore, it's understandable that the leadership is giving Erik ten Hag 4 matches to address the issues. The schedule may be tight, but this is when he creates conditions for players to play more, to find a satisfactory lineup before facing Tottenham Hotspur as an important test for top 4 ambitions this season. Although leaders like CEO Omar Barada or sports director Dan Ashworth have voiced support for the Dutch strategist, that doesn't mean they're not ready to find a replacement if he doesn't perform well. Ineos always provides specific, even long-term plans to help Old Trafford regain glory, and the selection of the club's manager has been mentioned a lot. This has sparked rumors that the former Ajax Amsterdam captain will soon be fired for not bringing positives to the team. And former player Stan Collymore agrees with this rumor, sharing with the media last Friday. "I don't care what others say. Ten Hag is unbelievably mediocre. Except for Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, Manchester United's appeal is still big enough to make any coach in the world think about taking this job. Ineos should go out there to pursue Carlo Ancelotti. Regardless of what he says, Ancelotti is the coach Manchester United should aim for, not the below-average Ten Hag." What former player Stan Collymore said is also the voice of many fans when asked about patience with Ten Hag, along with the disappointing performance from the players. Even some experts in Germany further stated that Thomas Tuchel is ready to return if he receives an offer for Manchester United, because the club's appeal is still very large. However, former Everton CEO Keith Wyness believes that firing the 54-year-old manager now is very costly, as the leadership has supported him in transfer activities throughout the past summer. And new signings will feel confused when their coach suddenly stops working and don't know what their future will be like. Jim Ratcliffe's mistake was allowing the Dutch to participate with Ten Hag not only in the backstage staff, but also players on the field. If they are really fired, it will become extremely expensive. The British billionaire has now put himself in that position in whether to eliminate Ten Hag or not. I think because of many surrounding issues, he will stay at the club longer than we think. That's a problem caused by Jim Ratcliffe himself, and it's a basic mistake when you've just taken over a team but want to make a difference. You always have to think about this situation when you're setting up the logistics team. That's the job of the sports director. But Manchester United didn't complete the leadership team in time to consider this option. Clearly, there will be many issues discussed in the coming time, especially the future of coach Erik ten Hag. Over the past 2 years, he has not yet defined any specific playing style or tactics for Manchester United. The amount spent on transfers is also very large, but in return, it's only so there needs to be a tough decision, or at least an ultimatum to wake up. And Ineos has chosen an ultimatum for the Dutch strategist. The next 4 matches will play an extremely important role in his position at the club. Success or failure will be decided by Ten Hag himself, and the force situation in the coming time will also be improved when Manuel Ugarte is ready, while Luke Shaw and Højlund are also preparing to return to the team. With the desired cards in hand, or what can be considered the best of the Red Devils, now is the time for this collective to improve in terms of performance. Only 3 points will satisfy the leadership and fans. In addition, Ten Hag should focus on work, rather than using titles to justify weakness at some points. Because that's not a good way to solve everything. I think if Manchester United were really as bad as you think, the team wouldn't have won titles against big opponents. I'm sorry, but you have a different perspective. In the foggy country's football village, I think Manchester United has won the most titles just after Man City. Surely many of us still remember very clearly the statement of counting titles from the former Ajax captain. In addition, he also thinks that he is not Harry Potter to transform immediately. Everything needs time. Previously, Jose Mourinho also had similar shares with Ten Hag during the period when he faced difficulties at Theatre of Dreams. In a terrible season, when sometimes I felt my team was the worst in the world, Manchester United won 3 titles. Yes, that was the year when the Red Devils couldn't get into the top 4, but they had the Community Shield, Carabao Cup, and especially the Europa League in hand. But that wasn't enough to help the Special Ones stay until the end of the 3rd season with the club. Discord in the dressing room, along with rapidly declining performance, caused the only coach to capture all 3 major titles in Europe to leave. So the story of titles is always a pride, but it must go hand in hand with stability, as the neighbor Man City is currently having. So let's see how Erik ten Hag will do in Manchester United's next 4 matches. Let's wait and see.